Hello, internet friends. I'm the Forehead, also known as Bay, and we just did a watch-through analysis of the War Within cinematic. This will be the new Midnight Intercession cinematic, which I have not seen yet. I had seen, at least vaguely remember, the War Within one, which is why it was more of like a breakdown. For the Midnight cinematic, it just came out recently as of yesterday, as of recording this, and I have not seen it yet. I was going to wait and just watch it, record it, post it, whatever. And the breakdown of this will be a little different. I don't know a lot of all these characters. I was talking about it with chat and trying to remember certain points. So I don't know all these different story beats. I don't know all these characters very well. Lor'themar, Regent Lord of the Blood Elves, Lady Liadrin, Blood Knight. Her's been in the story a lot, but like not forefront character. I guess she's in this though. Obviously, we know Illyria and Xal'atath because we just dealt with them for the last year plus. So I might just be maybe of a watch reaction, and then I'll do some breakdown afterwards because I haven't actually seen this yet. So I'll let the whole thing sort of mull over as I watch it. But let's just get started. After this, though, it's not going to be a great way to watch these, just as a disclaimer, because we'll be starting and stopping and rewinding and whatever, like I just did with the War Within cinematic. So don't get tilted, because it's not going to be like a complete just calm down.
The light guides my steps and illuminates my path. The light flows through me, and by its grace am I made one with all that is sacred. The light guides my steps and illuminates my path. The light flows through me, and by its grace am I made one with all that is sacred. The light
Liadrin, it has begun. I need you with me on the wall.
Yo, Gideon, let's go.
Lor'themar, the void will envelop us soon. Only the light can save us now.
No. The time for prayer has passed.
The first thing I want to stop at and see is the difference. We just watched the War Within, and I was getting told... This is my one point I want to bring up, and then we'll just watch it. Is the difference in quality. I think the one thing that struck me right off the bat is that it still looks really good. So this is a pulled out, this is a medium, so they're a little less detailed, versus the shot with Liadrin right off the bat here. I mean, she still looks really good. You can still see all of the different ways that the skin texture work and the armor. I think the thing that struck me as different immediately is the stylization, is that it's more fantasy because it's elves versus the previous, which was an orc and a human, which I know sounds weird because an orc is still totally fantasy. But when you put a human character in a shot that is you and me, because we're humans, and then you put an orc, the orc has to have like the same fidelity level to like not look weird. Like the Warcraft film, the orcs look so good because they're up against actual humans. Whereas this is like, it's elves and void stuff, which is way fantasy. Like it's way more fantasy than the previous. So that's the first thing I noticed. It's also way more shiny, and there's a tactileness that isn't as... Obviously, the previous cinematic is very dry. They're in the desert. This is very pretty and very bright, at least in context, because it's light versus it's void light right here. So that's the one thing I noticed off the bat, that there's a difference in style because it's all elves right now, which I don't know if it's all elves. Oops, all elves, which have a different type of almost cartoony aesthetic to them, because they are like, look at the texture work on the hair and stuff, and the lip texture, like the texture is still there. They just look more, they're a little more cartoony push because they're not human. They are elves. Yeah, let's keep going.
Light can save us now.
No. The time for prayer has passed.
The sunwell will not fall. Not while I draw breath.
Mouth movement there was really good.
Little elves.
Yep.
I can see you.
grow weary. How much longer can you hold out? Flee and save yourselves.
No
Yeah,
feet.
Don't.
Light be with you. You see? She understands it's hopeless. Soon, you all will.
The light guides my steps and illuminates my path. The light flows through me, and by its grace am I made one with all that is sacred. The light guides my steps and illuminates my path. The light flows through... I know that I am unworthy. I don't know if I deserve your help, but I know my people do. Please give them strength.
I admire your spirit, but that will not save you. Soon, I will break your world.
You can't even break one elf.
Let's go, Gideon.
This darkness comes to devour everything. And when it is finished, there will be no more light. Without your aid, we will perish. I beg you, help us.
It's a big cinematic pull there. I like that.
The Sunwell will not fall.
Not while we draw breath.
Okay. Ooh, that was slick. Yeah, so okay. Okay. First off, we'll kind of go backwards because it's sticking in my mind. This is not exactly a Lord of the Rings reference, but like art imitates art to some degree. Homages, little tips of the hat from animators and story writers, from new stuff to old stuff. The elves in Lord of the Rings, the swordsman elves, held their sword double hand, right of center, and they always moved straight forward. And their first attack against the orcs at Helm's Deep was they backswing up, because they cut up through weak parts in orc armor, and just like orcs are more armored in the front, but not like the sides and between their arms. So they always did like the slash up, right? And Lor'themar is literally doing pretty much that, which is the right of center holding his blade. And that immediately struck me as like, little Lord of the Rings nod there, maybe. Little Lord of the Rings, I felt that right into my bones immediately. Could have been artistically done on purpose like that. That's the first thing I immediately saw, is this pose that Lor'themar has as he runs. He's still like, he's old man, so he's still kind of like shifting his weight a lot. It's not as like rudimentary, like, because the elves don't move. if you watch Lord of the Rings, they just kind of like float forward and their body posture is the same, but they're elves, right? And as I was saying before, he's doing an overhead swing down. He's fighting a big void monster. So he's slashing down through the void monster's like neck and chest right here. And the second thing I noticed is the Void Walker animations. The Void Walker animations are sick with it. Like this stuff is real nasty. Oops. Like these particle effects and simulations and like their weird like void heart thing and their layers on their face. They got some like venom mouth stuff going on. That looked real cool. I was digging that. There's the shot where like the hand explodes. Probably a previous shot. Yeah, the actual artistry of the Void Walkers looks real nice. People on Reddit were saying it's the Arathi. Which ones? The tabards? Oh yeah, that's the second thing. Third thing is whose hand is this? Whose hand is this? Who that is? Because obviously, like a bunch of dudes show up in the next shot that walk in. So, is that they're saying it's the Arathi? As a paladin enjoyer, Liadrin 100% would have come out of the Sunwell with the Avengers Wrath wings out. Yeah, she's just backlit by the whole glow. But yeah, who these people at? They're not. Are they? I don't think they're elves. Although they all have helmets on, so we can't even freaking see them. And did they walk out of the Sunwell? There's nothing behind them here but the Sunwell. So are they light manifested? Are they not real? They aren't elves. They're too thick. Are they light manifestations? I mean, those look like human shoulders. It's a portal. Yeah, they could have gone through it. Yeah, the tabard stuff. Obviously, it goes super actiony. We can't really tell. Yeah, the art style of this is definitely a little more cartoony fantasy. They had to pull it in a direction, I guess, because they're just all elves. But like the texture work, where are my frame by frames? The texture work is still, I don't think it's as good as the War Within because of how much more action is happening in this cinematic. But I mean, like, this shot of Xal'atath goes hard. It's obviously different because you look at the thumbnail of Xal'atath from the cutscene, and you look at the thumbnail from Xal'atath from the in-game model, and they do look different because she has a totally different like cheek and bone structure here because she looks more realistically proportioned. It isn't a World of Warcraft cartoon character. But I love the fact that her tattoos on her face are actually burned into her skin. Now, granted, because she made herself look like that, I don't know if that's by choice or a void thing or something, because they are like branded. They're embedded in her flesh. They're not on top of it like painting. They're in her flesh. It's like the fourth light army we have found throughout WoW's history. Yeah, I don't know. How much action and flashiness going on? The trailer is more of the detail is spread out. It's not as, because the shots aren't sitting very long. Like this shot of Xal'atath is one of the longest shots that sit, and she kind of does a bit of a Sylvanas here. No, don't do the volume. She does a bit of a Sylvanas where she does like the float up, almost like accepting the challenge. Also, side note, I had to say something before I forget. The animation in her eyes, this animation layer for their eye textures, because elves, obviously though, this shit is so hard. Not like, obviously hard isn't like to do, but like it goes so hard. That's wild. because it's not flat. It's almost like bubbling up or like cold fire. It looks like cold flame curling around the spherical nature of her eye, which is similar to like her talisman and obviously her little void blobs on her shoulders, which the void shoulder blobs to me I always felt was just an elf aesthetic, because like Xal'atath had that too. And then fire mages have that now because of the elven sword they used back in the day. But this texture work and animations and the flickering of the fire in her eyes is so good. All the little bokeh, out of focus Sunwell blobs here look fantastic. Helps create that atmospheric layer. All the reflections on her face. That's why this is a lot more of a... There's a lot more like little artistic flexes in this cutscene because it's combat based, whereas the other one is just human boy talking to green orc father in desert looking at big sword. This has so much more, but I mean you can still see all the work that goes into her texturing and stuff. It's obvious it's just the next layering of the same art that we had before. She's got peach fuzz, right? She's got skin fuzzies, which that's what, you know, human-esque things have. Even orcs have it, right? That's just a human thing. I think the crazy thing about fully animating elves is they have obviously huge ears, different hairlines, and eyebrows that go off their face. And that can look incredibly silly because then when they emote, would the eyebrows like go down like this, like they're a cartoon character? Would they stay up? How would they wiggle and wobble to not look ridiculous? I mean, you can see the, again, peach fuzz layer here on her profile on the side of her face. That's the stuff that I see when I'm looking at like how detailed these character models can look in CG now. Obviously all the wrinkles in her lips. She do be having some big lips though. She has quite the proportions, which are still obviously WoW cartoony. But all the different light as it scatters differently within her skin, that's a crazy simulation. I don't know how long it would take to have rendered this prime shot, because you have to take into account all the different compositing layers where you have mesh and texture and lighting passes and how many different light sources they're actually using off camera to bounce in different ways. Like what it's all the different math that goes into how much it scatters or bounces or blooms, or it's a moving, it's like water, right? The Sunwell is like a big pool of yellow light water. But yeah, I don't know. I guess I don't know. We're probably going to get more story before we go into this expansion about the where the Sunwell is connected to, because we're going to get like a teaser quest line that'll lead us into this. I do the reaction that they animated on her is they did a bit of the I picked up on this. If you ever watched Dexter, Michael C. Hall's performance as Dexter Morgan, one of the big acting points that he did with his character is always with his eyes. And I saw this and went, oh, again, another nod to like a technique of eye movement is that when you move your head, normally a lot of the times you'll notice you blink, and you blink, but your eyes will snap to what you want to look at. Like if I want to look at my camera or look back at the screen, right? Dexter Morgan's character that Michael C. Hall acted, he would always like close his eyes and open them in the direction he wanted to look. And that's a lot more of like a unnerving kind of feel when you close your eyes and then you open them and your pupils are at a different location because you move your eyes behind your eyelids. So I got a bit of that from this, is because she blinks down and looks straight forward because she immediately knows what's happened. Right? That subtle like blink down and look straight forward, opposed to like having her eyes open and looking up. She does the blink down as the light flares up. Right there. What? Because obviously the counterpoint to this whole cinematic too is that it's either in this orangey yellow or obviously like the dark blue purple. That's the light motif is the void purpley black blue versus obviously the orangey white light of the Sunwell. That's how this is a color graded piece. It's in every shot, basically. Every shot either goes from orange to blue and purple to, you know, back to the orange light. This one has a subtle, there's a bit of the void on the horizon line here where there's I gotta go back a little farther because the camera pans down. So every shot has the juxtaposition of light and void, or that these blasts of the purple, but obviously the huge bright light in the horizon. So that's the color grading. She comes out of the freaking floor. No fully animated CG feet. Come on. Maybe they realize the memes are just like too much. But the eye textures on these elves is crazy. The eye lighting, that's nuts. There is definitely a more of a cartoony look because they are elves. But there's just a different granularity, I guess is a good word, to the way that the characters are modeled. And then using the light of the elven like backlit to be her hair light, that's inspired. But her face is still in darkness. But then since Leadrin's looking past her, she's being lit by the light in the distance from just Quel'Thalas, I guess, because the Sunwell's behind her, is crazy work. This shot is primarily in darkness because it's Xal'atath. This shot is primarily in light, but it's being shrouded into like little things like that. I think for WoW, this is a better aesthetic than hyperrealism. Because the War Within cinematic is like on the same level as the CG I was thinking from the orcs from the Warcraft film, which have to be like hyper realized because they're up against human actors, so they have to look the part, otherwise they'll stick out and look funny. I don't know how well the Warcraft movie still holds up to today's scrutiny, because as art and techniques evolve, your eyes get more and more trained, especially right now with AI art, which is just as garbage crap. The human eye can tell bullshit if you've been growing up with the evolution of how animation has worked. The uncanny valley stuff, right? Like if you watch the movie Ex Machina, there's some uncanny valley in that, but that's a real actor, but her whole body is CG. And you're like, but that's like, but she looks real, but like, nah, totally real. So, and that's the with this, like obviously these aren't real characters. They're hyper stylized realism, but it's kind of that cartoony WoW aesthetic, but they're freaking elves. I do like it's funny how Xal'atath says like little elves, but she chose to look like an elf. When she made her void corporeal form, she chose to look like an elf. Why? Just cuz? Because she likes the ears and long hair and crazy eyebrows, I guess. She chose to look like an elf. But also because Xal'atath is like the current stand-in for Sylvanas, to have like a leading elf lady. I don't know, because Sylvanas is on the back burner until probably the last Titan. But I mean, there's lots of elven characters in World of Warcraft, clearly. But this is going to be a very elf-forward expansion because they're all elves. We don't get any Illyria in this cutscene yet, but it's just the three of them. Yeah, all this stuff, the slow-mo wide, like of the Spellbreakers, because they have the floofy hat. This is a Warcraft 3 unit. They have the glaive, or the dual blade, I guess, as you could call it. But yeah, the animation on the Voidwalkers, like the little sinews of void goo between their teeth, that's very Venom-y from the Spider-Man universe, that kind of stuff. That the jagged mouth, but like the saliva trails kind of stuff. That's just that type. It helps accentuate the movement of the mouth. Like that stuff is really cool. I'm loving that. The action shots, the way they're armored up. If only Blueberry Voidwalkers looked this cool in game. They definitely don't. Why did Lor'themar send infantry outside the city to defend the city? Because they're defending different. They're sending different points of attack. obviously different points of time. I love the action shots, really cool. But this cinematic, clearly they went from, because the Dragonflight cinematic was action, but it was soaring, flying, cinematic, and then had the one, the cool rock earthen Titan Watcher guy doing the climb and stuff, right? Had action, but it was dragon flying around, scenic, and then the climby, you know, rock boy. Whereas War Within is totally just two dudes talking in the desert, versus this one now is like back to like some pretty involved, motivated action. Again, tells a short story. This has all these shots. The armor is definitely that more cartoony vibe. Because if you go from this armor, I still have it open, to this armor, like on Thrall, there is a more, or on Anduin, there is way more of a grounded, like this is pleated, hand molded metal, like metallurgic armor, blacksmithed armor. There is a roughness to it, or there's the shot of Thrall's shoulder pads. Obviously, orc shoulder pads, bit more rough. Even though this is armor that Thrall's wearing, this is a tangent. Is this orc armor, or was he given this armor? I don't know. But there's a lot more like real chunkiness to it, but it obviously still has WoW proportions. Whereas just the way that this is being lit, and see the sinews in the back of the mouth. Ew, it's great. Is definitely more cartoonish. Well, his OG armor was the stupid, terrible yellow shoulder pads, the Doomhammer ones that look awful. That's just because that's how they were modeled back in original World of Warcraft, the little yellow blobs with the little boinguses on top. Yeah. But there is a very clear... I like how the Elven Spellbreaker masks have a high enough eye line to let their eyebrow out. Practical, because they're elves, otherwise they have to tuck them back in their head. So they got to accentuate their eyebrows here. That's really good. I like that. Form and function. Also, it looks freaking dope. But there definitely is... It is a little more cartoony. Oh yeah, this is the shot where his hand just goes... and he gets sucked into himself. That goes pretty hard. That's some crazy particle physics simulation. It even has a bit of like the Venom face when he gets sucked away. Sorry for the mouth noises, but it's just how I'm Seek is like, yeah, he almost gets spaghettified like from Loki. It's like strands. Is that supposed to be a Loki reference, or at least an animation technique reference? That's some spaghettification. If you've watched Loki season 1 and season 2, both phenomenal. I guess they broke it apart in different layers, where there's a smoke layer and a physical strand layer, and then the ambient lighting layer from the little like void core that disintegrates and sucks them back into themselves. There's some spaghetti strands going on there. But yeah, all these shots too, I think all the shots... So this is an angle thing. This is a little more cinematic. Angles with characters, with the camera. Straight on is neutral, right? Neutral shot, straight on. This has a tiny Dutch angle to it. But this is a straight on 2 shot, but it's a little Dutch, which means it's tilted down or up a little bit. Normally, straight on shot is neutral. When you add a bit of a Dutch tilt or a Dutch angle, that just means a little bit of like unease potentially in the shot. And obviously they're looking down past frame, so you give them a little bit of a Dutch up so they're looking down past the camera, right? That's a little bit of that. And then when Xal'atath comes in, she ascends through the frame, and does it give her a low angle shot? Oh yeah. So hers is a bit of a low angle straight on, but how characters are framed is how you can help give a bit of emotional weight to the shot. So neutral shot, straight on. If you do overhead shots or looking down at your subject, which is the shot here now. It's way more down on her. She's praying to the sun well, which I was also getting like Star Wars vibes. I am one with the Force is with me. The Force with me, I am one with the Force. That whole mantra from Rogue One. That whole sibilant like little poem that she kept repeating, that she says at the very beginning as well too, about the light. But low angle looking down at a character shrinks you in the frame or makes them seem weak or more frail. Usually because you look down in a frame at a smaller character, right? Then they're smaller in frame. Whereas you look up at a character, they are more dominant in the frame. It gives you the eye line, the Kubrick stare eye line, where you look up into someone's eyes, which I've talked about the Kubrick stare and eye positions a lot when I've done like Final Fantasy 14, talking about breaking down things. So Xal'atath is in a lot of these frames where she's the dominating thing. So you're looking up at her. And then you're looking down at, where's the shot with Lor'themar? It's the previous one. You're looking down at him because now he is going down in the frame compared to her. And I guess he's getting mind blasted. Is that the point here? He's getting mind blasted. Yeah, the animation on the voidy particle stuff is so cool. The different layers of gunk and goo and void blobby stuff, and all coalesced back with there's definitely that weird spaghetti layer underneath the cloud. That's a subtle detail just to add texture to the character model. That's a cool shot. I like that shot. Crazy background. It's all out of focus, but the background is more out of focus, and your front character is obviously going through quite the mind blast, I suppose. It's a well put together cutscene, and this shot, this is the one, that one of the wide. Where's the wide shot? This one. Obviously, the dominant shot is that the void is on the ground. The elves are even more on the ground. Lor'themar is the only elf that's holding any sort of, he's barely up, right? He's on his knees. And Xal'atath is completely floating above him with this barely little visible bit of light behind her. Obviously, we have the ambient light of the scene. And then the little bit of light above her that's not totally voidy yet, but all the void crap in the foreground. This is a great shot. This is a wonderful composition because it shows the last little bit of dying light. And obviously the music in this whole sequence is to pitch shift. So it's dire, it's gloom, it's doom, it's we're gonna lose, right? It's all made for the heroic shift, which is this sting.
I beg you. Help us.
Is this choir part of the Quel'Thalas like motif? I'd have to go listen to the actual like Elven Quel'Thalas motif, but is that like what you hear from like Warcraft 3, or if you go in WoW right now? Is that sounds like it's a motif of the Elven choir. And then it changes to whatever this new voice, the new layer comes in when the hand comes on, which is clearly some army of light has teleported through the Sunwell to answer her call, which we'll maybe learn more about in the upcoming quest leading into the expansion to know who the hell these people are, if they're just because the Arathi light is like corrupted and really icky. So that's why I'm like, are these not those people? And the eye look. And the total change in musical tone. Heroic, triumphant, slow walk of the hero. I mean, it's a trope, but it looks goddamn cool. And then this helps him. Was his eye green? Was his eye green when he was getting? I know he has a green eye. Yeah, green. Because then he breaks the mind blast, basically. Enchanted weapon.
The Sunwell will not fall.
The smirk is so good. Also, the fact that they're playing to the hero angle of Lor'themar because of his eye wounded in previous. I don't know what battle he had with the slash that that took his eye from him, his left eye. But you play to that side so people can see. Obviously, Lor'themar is also pretty damn old.
Not while we draw breath.
I love that breath. And they got the tongue. They got 2 shots.
We draw breath.
The tongue animation's going crazy right here.
We draw breath.
Because you have to capture that. You have to get the tongue behind the teeth for the breath, how it's pronounced. Obviously, this is just in English. But they also had one here at the beginning, too.
Fall. Not while I draw breath.
They both said the same thing about drawing breath, but they both obviously have a different stance on how to deal with that. Whereas Lor'themar, Regent Lord, is more of a martial. And then obviously Liadrin has quite the background in Sunwell magics and things. So that she goes to the Sunwell instead of standing with Lor'themar, but then of course gets this army of light. Maybe they're just light constructs. I don't know. So he lost it during the Arthas Scourge. Oh, okay. So a long time ago, quite a while ago. Oh, I guess, yeah. Does she just cast freaking Wake of Ashes? Whoosh. That could be Wake of Ashes. Yeah, that could be the Paladin move, Wake of Ashes. That's sick. It totally disintegrates this Void guy. This Void dude is out of here, man. She is technically Prot. She's not Ret. What if Prot Paladins are getting Wake of Ashes in Midnight? Okay. She's also a hero character. Hero characters don't play by the rules. They don't care. Hero characters can have 90 different spells from 15 different classes. They don't give a crap. It just look busted. It just looks cool. She double cast it though, and can't Ret Paladins double cast Wake of Ashes right now if they're spec'd into the AoE version that does the follow-up cast. She do be double casted it. That's her. Yeah, see, second one. That's her second one. Yeah. I mean, the artistry is definitely here, but I think it's a little more stylized because of it's not all hero shots. I want to jump and swoosh with my Wake of Ashes, maybe in Midnight, baby. And so I still love this juxtaposition on this shot framing. You have, obviously, she's being lit with the glow of the Sunwell behind the elves, but the whole back, she's half and half. She still has, obviously, her orbs that break up the frame, but right side of frame, which is the motivation of where the light's coming from, is a lighter shot. The back, this all here, on the left of frame is all still dark. I love the animation of her face. It's so good. It's such a subtle little, like, bitchy smile, which I think just exemplifies Xal'atath. Still no feet. Feet out of frame. These are conscious decisions. I think they had too much feet and they didn't want to do more. Also, she might be wearing greaves. Also, she's gone. I don't know if you picked up on that. Is that in this is a slash cut in front of frame cut. It's like when someone is on a street corner and a bus goes by and then they're gone. The superhero cut thing where the front foreground wipes and the person behind is gone. She wipes out of frame here. She's gone. So then where is she now? I don't know. She's poofed because she's not going to fight all these light bound elves head on. She just leaves and all of her void gooblies are there. So, which is also because she's, I get kind of cowardly vibes from Xal'atath sometimes because she does all this like weird subterfuge crap where she manipulates people and then just hides and waits. Maybe they'll get the job done that I want them to get done. Maybe they won't. And then she just comes back later. So clearly whatever. And then this swirl. So this is a, how does it fade in? It is just a crossfade. Okay. It's a crossfade hidden by the action of the characters in the center because the side characters aren't fighting yet. The ones in the middle are. So your eyes are focused, obviously center frame, seeing Liadrin and Lor'themar chopping up these Void Walkers, all the sparks and stuff flying from the light fire. And then the Sunwell is a giant circle full of light yellow magic. And then this midnight blob, which is the heart, the dark heart of darkness, whatever. I can't get it confused with Destiny 2 lore, which is the thing, the MacGuffin stone that Xal'atath now has Dementia stuck in, just fades in. It's pretty good. It definitely has a totally different tone, but it still hits some like really cool little hooks and has some great cinematic language. This shot of Xal'atath is still really good. The lightning crackle, which is again a trope of the bad guy enters, lightning crackles. Where's the lightning coming from? Was it storming? Who knows? Does it look cool? Yes. Where's the storm at? I guess there's a storm now. Sure, why not? Look at the freaking dark heart animation on her tiara. All the woobly woobs. Love it. I mean, the stylization is great. Light be with you. That's the thing she says when you click on her and then you don't click on her anymore. Elven things. It's pretty damn good. It's pretty damn good. Yeah, Anduin is a priest wielding a two-handed sword that also becomes two one-handed swords. Yeah, hero characters don't care. If it looks cool, it's the rule of cool for hero characters. It's 100% correct. So, it's a cool cinematic. It's a totally different tone and pace, obviously. But there is some beautiful... God, that spaghettification of the Void Walker is so good. It's a beautiful cutscene. It's just a different stylization completely. This shot's gorgeous. That's crazy. The texture work on her fabric, the sheen on her little belt silk wrap, right? The gold imbuements. Her tattoos on her arms are tattoos, but the ones on her face, I still think it's crazy that they're branded into her skin. That's nuts. She chose that because she chose what she looks like. It's a visage. She's just a void blob without this elven visage. And she chose, like, I want to have branded tattoos in my skin. Why? Because it looks fucking badass. Right? I don't know. But it's cool. The story is weird because what are these things? Who are these people? But, all right, that's my cinematic gooble gob about the Midnight Intercession cinematic. Definitely a lot of little nods to things. I don't know if I'm reaching at certain cinematic techniques or little, like the Dexter stuff or the Star Wars stuff or the Lord of the Rings, like the sword pose. But those are just things that I picked up on with my knowledge of many films and things. There's probably way more that I missed. It's a pretty dense cinematic. There's lots of shots. But that's that. It's pretty damn cool. And we'll see what happens next. Because this is they're calling it the Intercession cinematic. It's not the launch cinematic. The launch cinematic is what it was titled with the Anduin one. This is this announcement cinematic. So, like, are we going to get another Midnight cinematic? I guess. Maybe. Who knows? Will there be different story points? Will it be before this or after this? I don't know. But, all right. That's true. I haven't done the last lore walking, so maybe I should go do that. But thank you for watching live, for the forehead rambles and does film analysis things, or watching on YouTube. Go get hydrated. Stop by, stream, watch other things. I have lots of playlists of huge playthroughs on my YouTube channel. We just recently did Claire Obscure Expedition 33, and that was just a absolute gushing like this over so many things if you want more of that. So this looks pretty cool. Looking forward to it. We're going to dive back in, play some more. Thank you for watching, etc. I'm just babbling so I can leave the 20-second outro card up. Okay.